on from our last episode of New Caledonia cruising. First up, we check out Laregnere Island and Dumbea Pass. We run from some nasty weather as a warm-up event before hiding from Category 5 Cyclone Lola in Baie De Prony. We're on our way. We're going to sail down to Laregnere from Goylands. Why have we waited till later on in the afternoon when the wind picks up and it gets all snotty?
Because we need to find a mooring ball.
Because it's Sunday.
And they're all taken.
And locals like to sail here in the weekends. So we're going to wait till later on to move so that there's a spot for us. Our dinghy is towed here in calm conditions with a less than ideal bridle system. That's because when we towed in some heavier than expected swell downwind, the exaggerated jerking motion over the waves resulted in the towing point fixing being ripped off and the dinghy floated away in 30 knots of wind. Don't tow your dinghy downwind. It's a stupid idea. I threw Dion overboard with a new rope to swim after the dinghy, while I drove the mothership around in circles until Dion could climb aboard the dinghy and get the outboard going, and then in great jerking motions repair Pepita, the little boat, to Maya, the big boat.
We struggled to pronounce Laregnere Island for a while, so we renamed our much-loved island Lingerie Island. Laregnere Island is an idyllic little spot with more of Newcow's well-maintained mooring balls.
We face new challenges on a regular basis, some of them causing heart-palpitating panic, like losing a dinghy off the back in rough seas and having to rescue it, or dragging anchor in rough weather, or crash jibing your main and breaking the main sheet block off the Traveller. And far worse that we haven't experienced, touch wood, managing these situations requires a whole lot of trust and communication with your crew. Often your partner, my husband, his wife, and it's inescapable. In a normal relationship, couples spend a few hours a day together, and if they're lucky, the weekends. And life is somewhat routinized. This is 24/7 trapped with them, living in a shoebox, so to speak. That relationship, the most important one of all, requires a whole extra level of nurturing and communication, a challenge to develop. You come to this beautiful country and then you get here and you find out the water's really cold and there's lots of snakes and man-eating sharks. It's for real. Where's the snake? I can't see him. I don't know how I'm going to get the camera close to him.
We discovered the sea crate snake hesitantly and found out it's venomous and can swim. However, its narrow jaw means it would have a hard time getting its fangs around any human-sized body part.
Our first snake, day one. Oh, there's his head. It's in a hole. Oh no, I'm scared. There's another snake. We're like 5 minutes in and we've seen snakes twice. This is scary. There he is.
Wow. Snake. One up there, yeah, there's one up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's another one up there and... Oh look, right here. What the hell are we doing walking around with no shoes on? It's like asleep in their caves. Ha! I love it. We saw a snake and we were like, oh my gosh, we saw a snake. And now we're like, oh, okay, they're every 5 seconds.
There's 4, another one is 5.
Oh, you're really... How's your French?
As a bird and marine reserve, spearfishing was off the list. I probably couldn't get a shot in anyway. When the water is so clear, the fish can see you coming for miles.
Haven't seen seagulls since we were in New Zealand. Back yourself.
Oh, there's his nest up in the tree.
Holy!
Look
What's
at him.
he got in his claws?
A rat or something?
Oh! Oh my gosh, it must have baby hawks.
Oh
The nest is cheaping.
There's the big one and there's the little ones.
Oh my goodness! There's Mama Pukeko and the baby's footprints.
This spot was epic above and below the water.
I've never seen so many fish hanging out under the boat, and no fishing allowed. Low tide on a full moon. Oh yeah, there's a reef. I'm pretty sure that's where you go kiting, isn't it? Oh, how dare someone else be here? You mean they've walked on our beach? I've never seen a reef that is so dry at low tide.
The reef was exposed in a massive king tide. Unexpected enough for some of the marine life to die exposed to the sun.
Even all the sea slugs are out of the water. Oh, they're all dead or dying.
This starfish, crown of thorns, is detrimental to the reef system. It preys upon the coral polyps, killing the reef. We did see plenty of giant clams, which was promising because they filter the spawn of the crown of thorns, so are great for the reef.
Dylan's getting a little bit manly in the facial fuzz department. Check that out! There's some little wispy
Oh, grey things.
grays. Silver fox, ain't it? Silver fox.
Yeah, silver fox.
We now both have long hair. Hair seems to multiply and go everywhere on a boat. Washing it and cleaning it out in the bilges can be a challenge. Even when we brush our hair while standing on the back of the boat, and sometimes it still blows back in at us. Smile!
Oh, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay. Cheers! 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 You can't beat a bonfire with friends on a beach. I always come home stinking of smoke, and I love it.
I just like, oh my god.
Bit of compliance. He loves compliance. I'm at my happy place.
Nice glow.
Dumbea Pass is an outer reef pass, usually too rough to stay at. On a light westerly forecast, in unusual direction, we sailed out. It does not do it justice. But I'm pretty sure we're lucky to get a Dumbea Pass anchoring night. Doesn't happen like this very often. Dumbea Pass. Pretty magic anchorage, and there's no land. And amazing watercolour. There's the chain. Within the first 5 minutes of getting in the water here, we saw reef sharks, a big leopard shark, and then a bull shark sitting around us. Woo! I catapulted back into the dinghy as fast as I could. Bull sharks can attack humans and have such a reputation in Noumea that they have enforced a permanent swimming ban in city beach areas unless a shark net is in place, and a 10-day per month ban at most Noumea islands while they did a shark cull to try and reduce the risk. There are various opinions on the pros and cons of shark culling, but in any case, the risk of sharks and associated swimming bans was widely publicised. Here we go. It's like Christmas time, eh, Dee?
No, not really. It's money I didn't really want to spend. But we need a fridge.
Ah, the good old fridge. Our fridge crapped out earlier in Noumea, and instead of replacing the compressor, we forked out for a new one.
Ooh la la! I don't know if it's cheaper, but it's more power efficient.
Hopefully.
Do we leave the bag on while we drop it downstairs? That might just protect it.
The handles.
Ah, right. Woo! Taking her dress off. There she is. The new fridge.
Hopefully it fits.
Yeah, haven't quite worked that out yet. Alright, now we got to try and get it down the hole. It's got blue lights. Is that how you set it? Ooh. It's currently quite warm in there. I'd call that the air temperature. Love my new fridge. But it's getting a little bit hard to work with when there's nothing in it. So we're going to go back to Noumea. We're also frantically trying to eat the rusty cans. They will not make it into Australia, so we're going to eat them all. They're unlabelled and they're rusty. Tonight's dinner is shepherd's pie without the shepherd being involved, because we're going to use refried beans with carrots, green beans and mixed veg and some taters and an onion. Last onion left, last potatoes left. Easy, creative cooking. After heading back to Noumea, we saw a rather nasty forecast coming, and so sailed downwind to Baie Papaye to wait it out with friends behind a bigger landmass. I'm not exactly sure that was successful, because the katabatic winds gave us a lovely 47 knots and we slipped backwards 10 metres on our anchor. It wouldn't be such a problem if we weren't sliding rather close to our friend's boat, anchored behind us to generously share their Starlink so we could have some decent internet. As we swung side to side on anchor, there was no room for them to pick up, so they let some more chain out and we took our run the motor in case shit hits the fan plan. That was a warm-up. When we had packed and prepared everything ready to set sail for Australia, a cyclone came in the long-range forecast, very early in the season, in October. So what if we stayed? The forecast was for the cyclone to hit nearby Vanuatu, with the fringes affecting Newcastle. But again, that's a long-range forecast, and forecasts change. Cyclones are unpredictable. What if the cyclone forecast is wrong and it tracks through the Coral Sea? A lot can happen to a forecast during 5 to 6 days at sea. We felt safest to stay in Newcastle, but prepare for a cyclone hit. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So we sailed to Prony Bay to check out the area and be right on the doorstep of our cyclone bolt hole at Baie De Prony. We were all ready to go to Australia. We had cleaned our hull. We'd done a sail change and put our genoa back on, gone up the mast and done a rig check, and a bunch of other stuff like taking all the strapping and bindings off the boards and putting all of the gear away, and then we pulled the pin at the last minute. We are sailing down to Baie De Prony, where apparently there is a cyclone hole called Baie De Prony, which we're hoping is not already full.
Apparently it is.
Maybe.
We'll see what it's like.
So we're still in New Caledonia, and we made the decision not to leave on Friday because it was going to be a really slow trip to Australia with light winds, with the potential for getting smoked on the other end if we weren't fast enough.
Which we won't be.
Yeah, a little bit unsure how that would play out. If we were too slow or the weather system forecast came in a bit early, then it would not be a fun arrival into Australia.
No.
This happened to friends of ours, and we do not want a repeat performance.
And looking at it, this cyclone's probably going to be a fizzer, and we'd probably have worse conditions getting into Australia than what we'll probably get here if we stay.
It's two bad options. It's go on a average weather window with potentially getting smoked at the other end, or stay and potentially get smoked by a cyclone. So a little bit nervous right now, but we're going to go south and hope that something better comes up and we get a good weather window. It is only mid-October, so it shouldn't be happening at this time of the year. It's a real
It's a bit early.
left field cyclone.
See what happens.
Fingers crossed. So here we are in Newcastle with a forecast cyclone coming down on us now instead, which wasn't really the plan. But we're hoping the cyclone is kind and it's followed up by a nice weather window, because we need to hurry up and get to Bundaberg before the cyclone season starts. It's a bit nerve-wracking, to say the least. Yeah. I get quite anxious over these things. We are slowly, very slowly, 2.8 knots slowly, making our way down to Prony Bay. Signs it's not that windy. Wind generator not moving. Flag not flapping.
True wind speed. 2.6 knots. Hey, we're flying.
Cruising.
We just hit 5-4.
Woohoo! Finishing up tying on another wonderful Dumbea mooring ball.
There's people over there.
Baie De Prony. I love the bird noise. Oh, so good. Within Baie De Prony, we checked out a few bays, starting with Anie Magic. Much of the area is a red clay and quite a barren landscape, a result of the nickel mining industry. What a lookout! Can you see me? Can you see out my nose? What big eyes you have.
There's plenty of walks to do. including the famous Capandua Lighthouse, which leads ships through the Baie Pass, the pass we arrived through.
The South Lagoon. And man, it's flat today. Woo!
It's also a famous spot for whale watching, but we were too late in the season by now.
Peekaboo!
Hello!
We set sail again, visiting Bay Nord with its twin waterfall walk, and then on to Il Casey. Casey Island. It's quite pretty.
By this point, the cyclone was named Lola, and we watched the updates as Vanuatu was sadly taking a Category 5 direct hit, the third major cyclone hit for them in 2023.
Executing Cyclone Evacuation Plan 101.
Yeah, somehow that low pressure system's developed into a Cat 5. One for the history books are saying, so we're trying to seek shelter, and it's not even supposed to hit here very hard, but we're going to do our best to try and find a little safe haven down here in the bottom of Noumea and see how we go.
Yeah, Prony Bay, and we're going into, hopefully, get a spot in Baie De Prony,
Which we hear is already pretty packed.
could be full, not sure.
We'll see how we go.
So we have 3 different weather events happening at the same time. One is there is a Category 5 cyclone in Vanuatu heading our way but should dissipate. 2 is there's a big Southern Ocean swell and low pressure system coming up from the bottom of Australia that will give us strong southwest winds, which is very unusual direction. And 3 is we're trying to coordinate all this with a passage window to get to Australia, which might come shortly after, so we better get ready.
Funny games.
Yoo! Baie De Prony. So far it's quite a bit windier and busier than where we were. Not loving this for a cyclone hole option. That's our swinging around at anchor chart. So we came in and it was more east, and it's gone southerly overnight. So we're facing a totally different direction.
Bye Prony Bay, you're fun. We did some walks. Saw some waterfalls. Sat in a lukewarm hot spring pool. That wasn't much fun. Got a bit cold.
Yeah.
Cheers!
Sweet, cheers.
Cheers!
But it was cool down here. Got a little hidey hole for a week. Trying to see what this cyclone was going to do, but now we're out of here. Back to the marina. Pack up time and head to Australia.
Great shakedown sail to Prony Bay. It's always nice to do a bit of a longer stretch before you hit the big blue sea again. And the best part is we didn't get hit by any nasty weather. Happy